accessible for everyone. We're so glad that you're here. Let's take a moment and center ourselves in this space. Take a deep breath. Get comfortable and let go of any worries or stress. To begin in a good way, we acknowledge that the lands and waters in our regions where we work, play, and camp are the ancestral homes of Indigenous peoples who have been here long before the first settlers and colonizers arrived. I invite you to pause for a moment and think about the original peoples of the place where you are. We want to acknowledge that as a church, we have a painful past. Our work is to do our part in building right relationships with Indigenous people, with each other, and with the land and the waters. We are called to stop, remember, and acknowledge the violence caused by overlapping histories of legacies of racialized slavery and oppression. May these acknowledgements renew in us our commitment to persist in anti-racism and anti-oppression practices. The United Church strives to be a safer space where all feel able to come as we are, our true, authentic selves. You'll notice beside my name, I have equity, and I'm being the equity support person for the meeting today. Equity is making every effort to ensure that content, process, and unfolding of the meeting or event like this offers equity and accessibility for all who are involved. Equity is the responsibility of everyone and something that everyone at the gathering takes part in. The role of the equity support person is to be available to contact if something arises during the meeting or event gathering. You can do this by sending a private message in the chat. And we introduce this at the beginning, so then you know who to contact if you need support or if something's not working for you. And then the equity support person is able to interrupt the meeting and offer suggestions and reminders. These roundtables are organized by a group of regional council staff, but we invite all to join and participate. Our purpose and goal in having these gatherings is to offer space to come and connect with others, to share your wonderful ideas, and for us to offer support to each other. We also offer a small time of reflection or worship to renew each other. These sessions have been called a roundtable to be able to connect with each other. Since this gathering has a larger group, we're going to ask you to start by introducing yourselves in the chat. If you want to share your name, your pronouns, your community of faith, and your location. If you want to share your email with others, also add that in the chat. So now I'll ask Kathy to introduce yourself and share the rest of our agenda.
Hello, good morning. My name's Kathy Douglas, and I live in Stratford, Ontario, which is on Haldimand Treaty Lands. And I am the Faith Formation Minister for Antler River Watershed, Horseshoe Falls, and Western Ontario Waterways. It's great. This is a great group, so many folks. It's always helpful for folks to know the agenda so that you're sure you're at the right place or you're going to get what you need and that you can take care of your needs. If it's not what you want or you need to leave, that's fine too. We hope to do all this in 75 minutes, I think. We find that's a good time for focus. We hope in our agenda that there's a time for connections so that you get to see names and who people are and follow up with them if there's something you wanted to ask. We're going to have a presentation by Jocelyn Burks in a bit to give us some content around volunteerism. And then we'll have some roundtable conversation, or in that time, there's a bit of self-reflection as well that she's going to offer. Then we're going to have a roundtable conversation, which is tricky when we have lots of people, but we find that really a helpful time. Before that, we're going to have a time in breakout rooms with 3 to 4 people, just so you have a chance to think about, like, have a chance to use your voice if that's what you'd like to do with one another and make some connections. And after the round table, then a short spiritual practice that we hope is useful in the topic of volunteerism, and then a closing and sharing what's next to come. There we are. So I'm going to just invite Jocelyn to begin and have her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jocelyn. I'm from Port Nelson United Church in Burlington, and I also use she, her pronouns. Um, yeah, I'm super excited to be here. So thank you for having me and coming to hear me and just being together. I'm super excited to talk about volunteerism. Um, I'm going to share my screen. You can see what I see. And
Jocelyn, I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. I forgot. Just before we get going, does anybody have any questions, or if you have tech problems, make sure you reach out to one of us. I didn't give a chance for that.
do not be afraid to interrupt. Raise your hand, write in the chat.
Okay.
It is a very open dialogue here.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, please, no apology needed. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna keep going as I don't see any questions. Yeah, so I said yes to come talk about volunteering because this volunteering has always been something that's been close to my heart. I've been volunteering most of my life. It started in the church, doing like church dinners and then the Christmas dramas and the Christmas shows and community fundraisers. I also volunteered at a kid's birthday party once and I was a clown. So it's been super enjoyable and it's something that's I've always loved. But it's really interesting because being asked to do this because it's only really recently in the work that I'm doing now, I'm the developer at Children Youth Ministry, that I really realized why people volunteer. Like it was always just something that I've seen people do, and it's like always been community work, but there is a lot more to like volunteering in the essence of because it really connects to building community and purpose and belonging. Volunteers are just super important in all of the work that we do everywhere in all of community. So as I've said, volunteers really are the heart of grassroots and nonprofit work and in our communities. And I've seen firsthand how volunteers can make a difference and how one person can make a difference, whether it's a youth leading a camp or a retiree organizing an event or a parent showing up with their time and energy. Volunteering is really about connection. It's how we build belonging. It's not just about filling roles. And it's simply started with wanting to help and make, like for me, when I started, it was just to make people smile. Like I really just wanted to give back because I had the time, I had the energy, and I really just enjoyed engaging with people. Over the years, I began to see the bigger picture, like people give when they can and what they can, and volunteering looks very different to everybody. Some serve through leadership or teaching, others through creativity and hospitality or prayer. Each role, no matter how small it is, adds to something so much greater. And at its core, volunteering is really about people showing up for one another, and that's how communities can thrive. So I just want to give some I know not everyone came from so many different areas, but in the context of just trying to share a little bit of information around statistics, this is specific to Halton, but in just like a brief overview, like what we're seeing in Halton is that people want to help, but they want to feel their contribution matters. So in Halton, there's over 20% of nonprofits that are entirely volunteer driven compared to about 14% across Ontario. But like many places, Halton's nonprofits are seeing challenges and how people volunteer. There's a growing challenge in recruiting and retaining, and particularly long-time volunteers when they retire. According to the Volunteer Halton 2024 report, youth aged 15 to 24 have one of the highest rates of formal volunteering, around 82% before the pandemic, which was quite a few years ago, but however, the way youth engage is evolving. Many prefer short-term project-based opportunities instead of long-term commitments. There's also a shift happening in how we talk about this work, from volunteering as a task to community care as a shared responsibility. That shift reflects a deeper need for connection and belonging, especially for younger generations who want to feel that what they do matters and fits who they are or who they want to become. There is also a growing awareness that youth experience barriers to volunteerism that may be different from other age groups. Some examples include financial barriers, specific to youth, the experience of ageism and tokenism, and no intentional efforts to reach youth to listen to their perspectives. Indigenous youth also face additional barriers, which include Western ideologies of leadership and governance being dominant as a result of colonization and intergenerational trauma. In a recent report looking at youth allyship and how foundations can engage youth leaders, the authors note that to really engage youth, there needs to be an intentional collaboration and power sharing. Needing more youth led and giving youth power to lead and support alongside instead of assuming what is needed or wanted. Creating room for flexible opportunities, youth voices, and new intergenerational practices will be important for finding new ways for youth engagement. So this, I was just again showing a couple examples. So the survey that I've been speaking a little bit of was done in 2024 with Volunteer Halton, and it's about volunteering and reports. I just said that. But the goal of the report was to, when we understand our collective landscape, we are better equipped for decision making to design and deliver programs and support our community altogether. So this information may also empower citizens and grassroots groups to engage in the community care for one another and drive change, was kind of where the survey was like trying to stem from. The information and the stats came from Statistics Canada, General Social Survey on Giving, Volunteering, and Participating. It's the most comprehensive study on giving and volunteering in Canada. If we create roles that connect to what people care about, like climate action and reconciliation, creativity or leadership, etc., we open the door for a new generation of volunteers. So this was just a couple examples of what they found as to there was two parts of the various factors nonprofits report are affecting volunteer recruitment and retention in Ontario and Halton. And then this one was just showing kind of, I just thought it was interesting to see, obviously it's not all inclusive to all of Canada and all the provinces and all the cities, but it does show a little bit about like how many hours are people volunteering for and what's the rate of volunteers. And it is very like broad, like people, there are so many opportunities for people to volunteer in different capacities. Is there a question? Sorry.
Jocelyn, can I just, this is a lot of information. It's really good. I want folks to know that we've recorded this and we'll send this to you. And Jocelyn will share her slides as well for you to take in. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, all of that is true. The data, like, it just kind of was emphasizing reminding that the need for volunteers is real, but so is the opportunity, especially when we tap into the unique gifts that people bring. So I thought a little bit about like why people volunteer. So Statistics Canada calls volunteering purposeful helping activities without monetary compensation. But in the life of the church, volunteering isn't just about tasks. It's important for the function and prosperity, and it's about the gifts that people have to share with one another. everyone has their own reasons for volunteering, and some volunteer to connect with old friends, some connect with new friends, some it's about learning a new skill, or it's doing something that you're really passionate about. Like there's just so many and there's so many more reasons to do it than just those. It's like a way to give back, or it's um doing something that's making a big impact. And there's so many different opportunities of volunteering. One example of kind of interesting way that people came together for why they chose to volunteer. There's this group called Men in Aprons, and um, they started this group. Like it was one person who just had this idea, and wanted to. They lost their spouse, and they were feeling really alone. And their spouse was the one who did all the cooking, and they just didn't have as much experience, and they were feeling really isolated and alone. So they ended up talking to when they started talking to other at the time it was talking to other men about their experience and about like their feelings, and how they were trying to cope. And when they were talking about it, like the idea of why don't they start a cooking group for single or not, it doesn't have to be single, but they've grown it since then. But like they started this group so that people or men who lost their spouses could come together to learn how to cook, and they would be able to socialize. And then they're also giving back to a bigger impact. So now they do like speaker series where they like invite people to come talk, and they provide breakfast, and and it's like it's become so big. Like that small little, like that one person who had this thing that was very tragic and very common. And they just reached out to a friend, and then that just grew. Like it was very like, and then all these people are volunteering their time because it's helping themselves, but they're also giving back. Like it's a very give and take reciprocation when it comes to volunteering. um and for me, like another example of volunteering was um I have done a lot of volunteering with food, but one random another example is I volunteer for a therapeutic horse riding center. And it was really unique that at the time when I saw the opportunity come up, I was so excited because I haven't worked with horses in so long, and I love horses. So I wanted to get back working with that. And then I got to work with people and help train them on how to ride. And then there's this whole community of volunteers there that all have similar interests, and they create this really great opportunity for people to build connections with one another. And it's so impactful because it is like this riding center is completely volunteer led also. So we like so many aspects of people giving back and working together. There's so many different reasons why people do it, but it is very exciting and fun when you get into it and bring everyone together to do it. Um, Youth volunteer, I mean, based on conversations I've had with youth volunteer because they receive their community hours, like for high school specifically, and they're contributing to this greater good. But they also, some youth really enjoy just volunteering because they also just like that's what they grew up with, or that's just what they want to do. It's a new task to learn, or it's something that they like to do in their free time, or it's really good on the resumes. Like there's so many different, like it's very valuable work experience and volunteer experience in general for life. So when we understand why people give their time, we can better invite, support, and celebrate people. And volunteerism brings people from all backgrounds together to help create a sense of belonging and connectedness. So one of the ways I like to think about gifts is through this simple model of gifts of the head, heart, and hands. So this is the part that Kathy was talking about earlier, which is the couple of minutes for self-reflection. So I would like to invite everyone to take about 3 minutes of your own time and think about what your there's three parts. So there's gifts of the head. So these are things that we know: knowledge, ideas, problem solving, teaching, organizing, etc. It's what you feel a gift of the head represents. So you would normally we would have like little cutouts, and it'd be like a head shape, a heart shape, and a hand shape. So you're welcome to draw that and write in that also if that gives you more, or you can just write it. The other one's gifts of the heart, so things that are we care about or really passionate about: compassion, empathy, listening, hospitality, encouragement, things that you hold really close to you. And the last one is gifts of the hand. So things that we do: fixing, cooking, building, creating, um, anything with your hands. So I'm gonna be quiet for 2 minutes so you could do that. Does anyone have any questions? Sorry.
Um, Sharon speaking, I just want to add that this is just for yourself. So you won't have to share any of this. It's just for you to self-reflect and see where you're seeing your gifts are.
Okay, I'll give everyone about 20 more seconds and then we will continue. Okay. Thank you for taking a moment to do this. So why I like to do this little self-reflection, or why I want to introduce this, is because um, I have experience in doing a lot of gift focused or good gift centered training and um, education, because that's what I was really passionate about and what my other job I was doing was around, and it was all about belonging. And um really I mean, I do believe that everyone does have gifts that they inherently have, that they give. And it is such a beautiful thing to watch people share their gifts and watch what other people have to bring and to give as well, because that whole interaction is how we build that sense of belonging, is around like what you're sharing and what you're receiving. Um and it's creating this bigger sense of belonging and really being seen and heard and who you are. So this activity, it's a great activity you can do for an event or for training. It's really opportunity for you to get to know others and get to know yourself and reflect on what you can bring. And also it's a great way to kind of just see like everyone has something different that they can bring, or something different that they're really passionate about. And it's a great way to kind of see like if you're trying to like put together an event or something, you have this great you have people who have filled out like what they what they're passionate about, that what their gifts of the head are, gifts of the heart, and gifts of the hands. You can kind of see like, oh, who would be really good at doing the budgeting part of this? Who would be really good at advocating for this, or who would be really good at building this for us so we can get in the event? Like there's lots of ways you can kind of make this work, where it's a great opportunity to build those connections and help make everything a success. Because it doesn't mean you can't learn how to do the other things that you don't have, but it's just much easier when you have more hands than when you're doing it by yourself. Um, yeah. So ways to recruit. So based on my experience, it's for recruiting volunteers, it's less about filling a spot and it's more about inviting someone into something meaningful. Um, I've learned that clear expectations and boundaries help make volunteering easier and more inviting. And people want to know what's being asked and how long it will take and what support they'll have. Um, so different, oh, my bad. Different ways that I've done or I've experienced recruiting and stuff. There's like the online posting. So if your group has an online page like social media, someone to make posters, or um, there's also like having your friends and family who are like inviting the people who are helping plan it to send it out on their end, and then also that like connections outside of connections is really helpful too. There's also after service sign up sheets. I'm sure that's probably a common one for folks, especially in the church. Um, there's also you could make a volunteer recruitment day. So you put it like they do have like um some events are already held where you could do a table and like do recruiting that way, or you could have your own if there's like enough things to like volunteer for, or you can just set up a table at an event to do that kind of thing. There's lots of different opportunities to do the recruiting table. Outsourcing to community groups. So this like I partnered, so an example of trying to recruit volunteers, I ended up I we wanted to do like a intergenerational storytelling event, and instead of trying like it felt like our volunteer team was feeling a little thin, and they were feeling they were overworked, or they just didn't have the energy to do it. So I outsourced to a community group called Community Creative Hive, and they had the grant money to host an event, and they had the volunteers, and so I just grabbed the one person I had and myself, and then I brought in this group, and then we partnered to do an event so that we had enough people to sustain the event and what we wanted to accomplish. So there's like, it's also a great idea to look at those options, like if that's doable for what you need or what you want to do, like outsourcing to groups to partner is another great way to just bring in extra people, and you're also building up that community awareness and like what's available and local to you. I talked about tabling events already. There's also the personal ask does and can go a long way. Like it can be I mean, everyone feels differently on like how they want to ask. Like but when you when someone feels valued or someone feels seen or heard, like their gift is seen. So an example is like I know an artist who wouldn't think of themselves an artist, but I've seen their art, and I went up to them and I was like, would you like, I love your work, would you want to come show the kids how to do something like this, because I know you used to be a teacher, like, and they were like, I would love to. I wouldn't even think that that was a thing, but yeah. So like it's like knowing people a little bit, or even just you could also just be asking people like, what are things you like to do in your free time? Like over time you build that relationship or you build that rapport, and you it gets easier to know kind of like who are your people that have these different things that they could bring. And I mean, you're also going to get the no's, and you're going to get like there's lots of different ways, but I think a personal ask definitely can go a long way. And then again, the partnering with other church groups. So I work in the children and youth department, but I also really like to partner with a firm because we do a lot of intergenerational work, or we do a lot of work where our youth are quite passionate about advocating and educating around indigenous indigenous education, and then around climate action. So we often partner either with a firm, or we partner with greening, and it just brings in more people and offers more opportunities, because you can do more with more people, or you can just make it run smoother with more people. So those are just a few different ways that have worked, but I'm sure there's also more than that as well. There's also, if you're in Halton, the Volunteer Halton website, they actually do also, you could put in posters there, and you can, and they help share that you're looking for volunteers. So if you're looking for an online platform that does it for you, there's also looking at those options as well, where they can help you find volunteers without you having to do it. So this is also another way that we've recruited before. Like the other thing is that I've been learning as I go is like not doing an event just because I want to do it, but doing an event when there's energy to do so from other people. So I don't love to do things by myself. I really do prefer to work with other people, because that's just who I am. But so like ways that I've learned from my other team and stuff is sending out an email to families that have been connected, or individuals who have said yes before, or maybe there's some new people at the church that said they were interested, like, or you include them all in like a BCC. Normally I do it hidden so that people don't see each other's emails, and then you send out, you can pick the date and time prior, or you can offer to just meet and see if there's energy, if you're getting responses, to see if what would they want to see, or would they want to be part of something like this. So these examples are like for Halloween event. Like it's normally one of the really popular events, especially when if you're trying to get outside community in, like Halloween is just one of those holidays. And so I reached out to like 4 families, and you get responses back even from 3 of them or 2 of them. Like you find what you have the energy to do all together. So that's kind of where these example invites. And the other piece that was important in this is the option for feedback. So after an event, I have sent out a survey to ask people for, and I try to leave it very like open-ended, like, and we use Godly Play in our church. So we use the Godly Play questions, or we tried to frame a few of them, like, I wonder, and I wonder what you liked best. I wonder what you want to see more of. And it just wasn't an open opportunity for feedback. And one of the events, we did hear about volunteers and how they wanted to be supported, and how some said, like, we want to help with this. Maybe if we could have help with this, like, so you're getting ideas from other people as well, which can also support what you're doing.
So
Sorry.
sorry, Jocelyn.
It's okay.
We're just going to ask you to maybe wrap up your last minute, so we still have time to go into our breakout rooms.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is just this slide was just sharing about talking about the boundaries and duty of care. And on the United Church website, there is a whole section on duty of care, which is highly recommended for you to check out. And it's and they also have, like, I'm pretty sure there's a volunteer handbook also there. So as an example of different ways you can kind of make sure that everyone's getting what they need, and you're creating those safe boundaries and relationships. And then this was just about maintaining volunteers. So I really focus around the belonging aspect, and being flexible to people's schedules, and mentorship and appreciation and watching for burnout, because that can happen when the same people are doing multiple events. So trying to spread out your volunteers and find different areas that people can help. And then celebrating volunteers. This is a really important thing, because you want to celebrate that people are making a difference and that what they're doing is important. And so there's lots of different ways you can do that. You can do it like publicly, or you can do little announcements, or you can send out individual thank you cards. Like, there's lots of different ways to do it. It really depends on what your volunteer group does. Or sorry, it depends on what your organization and what the people are doing, what they like. And you could do like a photo wall. And this is the last slide. Volunteering has shaped who I am. It's taught me humility, leadership, and empathy. I've seen it changes others too, giving them confidence, community, and purpose. Whether you're building a new volunteer team or nurturing one that's been serving for decades, remember, every act of service, every gift shared strengthens the web of belonging in our communities. And people need people, and volunteering is one of the most beautiful ways that we can do it. Thank you so much. So sorry for running long.
Thank you, Jocelyn. There was so much there for us to take in, and I know for me it was sparking all kinds of things I'd like to talk more about. And so I'm grateful that we'll have a copy of your presentation as well as the recording for people to go back and take a look. So my name is Sean Redden, and I'm Justice and Faith Formation Minister with Shining Waters Regional Council and Canadian Shield Regional Council. So collaborating with my colleagues here. And just before we move into breakout rooms, I just want to give a shout out as well to Dana Doucette, who's online with us today, who's our colleague with youth and young adults in Eastern Ontario, Outaouais region. So some of you are from that region. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Dana as well. So we're going to move out into some breakout rooms for about 10 minutes. And I'm just going to send that into the chat right now so that you'll see what we're suggesting. Really quickly, with the 3 or 4 people you're with, introduce yourself, really just what you put in the chat before, so people know who you are and maybe your context. So 2 questions there. Your reaction to what Jocelyn offered, and what are you needing further on this topic? And take some notes, even if you're typing in the chat, just remember to copy it so you could paste it back into the group chat when you come back in from the breakout rooms. So about 10 minutes just for some sharing in small groups. And Kathy's going to move us into those now.
Thank you. Here you go. I put Dana in a room, but maybe not.
Well, I think you have to choose to join. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
did you stop the recording?
No. No. And Sean, I'm leading this. Is that correct? Is that what we
Yes,
said?
please.
Yeah.
Anybody can help though. Especially watch the time. Like if we get to 11:35, send me a note or something.
I'll just interrupt you.
Okay, good. Fair enough. Okay.
Recording in progress.
I'm not, no, we haven't got everybody back yet.
They're starting to come back now. And I think, Kathy, maybe just a reminder, if people had notes that they were going to paste in the chat, they could do that.
Hi, folks. I'm gonna mute a few people. Welcome back. Hope that was helpful. If you're not speaking, you might mute yourself just so we can not hear background noise. If you took some notes, we don't have enough time for all of this, so we really hope that you can put your notes in the chat. We'll try to summarize those and share those with folks, and then offer some other things at the end of or in a email to you around this topic. But this is an opportunity now for us to share so everybody can hear some comments, some questions, some things you're still troubled about, or things that you think you've just got some fantastic resources that you want to have mentioned as well. And again, we've got a big group, so we'll try to honor voices and time. So what more? What have you learned? Or
Kathy, there is, I can just tell you that in the chat, most of it's people sharing ideas and things. But there
Yeah.
was one question. We were interested in hearing more about ways to celebrate and encourage volunteers in meaningful ways.
Okay. At the end of this, we're going to do a bit of a litany that hopefully it'll be one option. And there are some great, anyway, we don't need to mention all that, but maybe other people have. You are the wisest people here. You do this work. You're right up front. So let's share with each other.
And Yunhee
Go
has hand
ahead.
up.
Hi, Yunhee.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I really appreciate your time. I have one question. So yeah, we need volunteers, and then we can recruit many people as much as we can. But in your point of view, what is the police check to protect our children? We cannot hire anyone who we do not know, right? So what is your way of the protection for our youth or children?
So the duty of care pieces, you mean, like it's such a big package and it's such a big topic. That would be something too we can send you, is duty of care resources. Police checks are one piece of that. And churches need to make that decision themselves about whether or not they're going to, and who they're going to ask to do police records checks, how they're going to ask them to be done, who's going to pay for them. There's a number of things around, and what are you going to do with them once you get them? That's a big piece too. So I'd be happy to chat more with anybody in our regions about that. And we'll send some information around police records checks. I hope that's enough, Eugene. But if you think you want some more, let me know. Others might have some other opinions there too. Some churches don't make them mandatory and some do.
We
we
have
should-
two teachers teaching at the same time. A teacher never teaches alone.
Right.
There's always a second person with them.
There are so many ways to protect.
Yeah, normally the ratio is the 1 to 10. So yeah, that's like us too. We do 2 volunteers for each. And then we also, on top of the duty of care, we also made risk assessments. So it's like sharing what's the risk and what's the remedy, and like just really kind of planning out like preparing for preventing any problems.
Topic. We could probably do another one on duty of care. What more are you looking for? Louise, I see your hand. Thank you.
I'm just going to add about duty of care that at our church we do have to have police checks, but once you have those, they're only good for a limited amount of time. And what we do is then annually, instead of making people do a police check every year, they do either a verbal or a written thing with the minister saying that they have not had any convictions or criminal convictions since the police check, just so that you don't have to be doing it every year.
Thank you. Other comments or somebody asked about how do we celebrate and recognize do some have some really Great ideas around that?
Not necessarily an idea, but I think one thing that's important for me is record keeping, and keeping track of who volunteered when. So that way, if there is going to be something like an annual thing that happens for recognition, that nobody's being left out. And making sure that you have a sense of who volunteered. And that also helps you to know, recognize if there's someone who might be doing a lot and potentially burning out, or if there's folks who are really great, but actually they only helped at a couple things. Maybe that's somebody I can tap on the shoulder again next time. As somebody with limited hours, sometimes the administrative tasks fall by the wayside because I want to spend all my energy planning fun programs, but that administrative piece is really supportive in supporting your volunteers.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelly. Bethany, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just had another thing about the recognition. So I send out an email to all of my volunteers the Monday after they volunteer to say thank you. And then we also at the end of the year do it as part of the service to recognize everyone who's volunteered with our children and youth ministry and have them stand up in front of the congregation to be recognized. And then I also have the kids create thank you cards for them as well. So it does rely on, like Kelly was saying, that administrative part of remembering and figuring out all the people who did help with it, but it's a little thing that really connects them with the work that they had done.
Excellent. Thank you. It is time well worth spent. I'm not reading all the things in the chat, so if there's things to highlight.
There's also like getting your volunteers together and celebrating them at like an event, like inviting your volunteers and then having different volunteers, or you could order in food to make to do like a meal together to share about like the highlights. What are you liking? What do you want to see more of? Sorry, I'm throwing back in the other place sayings again, but like that's another way we've done the celebrating is like bringing everyone together and hosting a meal for them. So they're not doing anything for it, but they are coming to and being recognized. Another in the service we've done where like we've named people, or we've asked them, anyone who if there's like a huge list, like 100 volunteers, then you may just say, everyone who volunteered for this, please rise. And then everyone rise and then you clap for everyone, which can be really exciting. And some people don't love that, but I think there's definitely lots of different ways. You can also put their names in, like naming people just helps them be seen, but it's another way.
Catherine?
We also put it in our annual report.
Ah, very good. Very good.
There was a note from Joelle, Kathy, in the chat, drawing attention, like when there's only one staff, minister and or admin, and when with an aging congregation, how do we support the possibilities for volunteer hours? That is a real struggle. Maybe it's just something we hold, or maybe you have some comment, John.
I'll offer, I don't know if it completely ties in there, but I have found it really, really helpful to have a job description of every job that you're asking somebody to volunteer for, with clear, this is what we're asking you to do. This is the time commitment. Here's the person you talk to if you have trouble with something or you have a question. And also in that, highlight the gifts that are needed for this job. We need you to be able to, enjoy children if it's with children, or enjoy using a phone or social media. So folks know what they're signing up for, and then being able to do that administrative task to look at those job description and the people who have filled them and go back and call them and say, how's it been? Does this job description fit what you had signed up for? Where have we missed? What have we missed? What should we be changing? Because they would be the best to tell you what's wrong with it or what's good about it.
I think I would add to that, Kathy, having recently come from being in congregational ministry leadership, that's a real thing. And I think that and somebody mentioned, Callan also mentioned about sometimes when there's only a minister's paid staff, it can be lonely and frustrating with diminishing responses. And that's true too. And so part of the work, I think, of leadership, whether it's paid or your volunteer core leadership, is facilitating conversation around what do we have that we can offer, and doing some discernment about what is realistic in our community of faith in this moment of time. And I think that piece of discernment is an important accompanying work, rather than the continual call of, we need volunteers, we need volunteers, we need volunteers. But it may be that with your congregation, you are in that moment, that season of time when that stepping back and having learning conversation, and where we'll focus our energy and our ministry is important.
I was going to mention when they were talking about just a minute ago there about the giving clear direction and job descriptions. At the church I was at before I came to this one, I was on the M&P committee, and the M&P committee looked after all the volunteers as well as the paid staff, and they had a couple paid staffs, but they had lots of volunteers, and we made up job descriptions for those volunteers, and it was very good for the committees or the church school or the stewards or whoever it might be to know what the job is that you need to do and what you're responsible for. So that might be somewhere you might get some help if you're looking to make up some job descriptions, is through the M&P committee. They might be able to give you some help, or there might be somebody from the region that you're in that might be able to help. Anyway, just a few thoughts on that.
Thanks, Kathy. I'm thinking that probably it's a time for you to start to share. Yes, we can send out templates for job descriptions, for you to share your spiritual practice with us.
Sure. Just on that last sort of the conversation we were having, making people feel guilty or making people feel ashamed for not stepping up or is probably not a great approach. It's one thing I've learned to, and especially acknowledging it is the time in a season for some folks to say, I can't do this work anymore, or it's not, but to still celebrate them and to say, you've shared so much. And to honor that and say, and sometimes we have to say, we can't do that program anymore. It's not safe. We don't have the volunteers. People don't have the capacity. We've moved on. And so I just offer that as a very helpful thing in my experience. So we've heard that church volunteers and volunteers in general play a vital role in the life and the growth of any congregation. They dedicate time, energy, talents, and serve others and support church activities. However, even the most devoted volunteers can sometimes feel overwhelmed, underappreciated, and discouraged. Sharing a word or two of appreciation goes a long way. And we've heard various ways of doing that, being creative in the different ways we acknowledge and share appreciation. In this next couple minutes, I'm going to invite you to picture in your mind a cherished volunteer in your experience, somebody that you've worked with who has been cherished. Maybe there's 2 or 3. Hold them in your thoughts. Maybe picture them standing here amidst us or among us or somewhere in your church or where you've seen them in their gifts, time when they've been sharing. I'd also like to invite you, if you need this, you are probably volunteers. My guess is many of you are either volunteering now or have volunteered. So this might be a time you need to picture yourself as the one who needs this recognition and this appreciation. So take a deep breath, and we're going to share a litany, or where I'm going to read the leader part, and then I'm going to have anybody who wants to read the congregational part, and we can read it out loud. I've used various kinds of words and descriptors of saying thank you and gratitude and understanding of the experience of volunteerism, which I hope you might want to use in your own context in this next piece. But we're going to share this as a blessing, so you can be the congregation, you can be quiet and be the one receiving the gift, or whatever you need. And if you like to stand up, you can do that. If you want to shut off your camera, if you want to do whatever you need to kind of get into this moment of sacred blessing. It's sacred and it's a blessing. So I'm going to share this on my screen. Let me know if that's seen. Is it okay?
So you're sharing our script.
That is fun.
If you could share the other document.
You betcha. Why is that? Let me go to this. Try this again. Tell me if that's right this time.
That is lovely.
Okay.
Is there any way to make it a tiny bit bigger?
Is that any bigger?
That is lovely. Thank you.
Now I've lost my script. Shoot. Still okay?
Yep.
Okay. When there was a need, you came forward, or you put up your hand, or maybe you smiled, and you were picked. You showed up and helped. Congregation,
We are
you're
blessed to
to
have
have
you
on
on
this
team.
in the nighttime or daytime, on weekends, and even in the coldest, darkest part of the year, you showed up and helped.
Thank you for being a reliable volunteer.
Elected, duly appointed, or quietly, anonymously, and unbidden, you did what was needed and needed to be done.
We couldn't
do this
without you.
you.
Sometimes with the help of many hands, other times alone. You worked.
Thank you for your
For your
unwavering
unwavering
commitment.
commitment.
You gave your time, your talent, and even your treasure for the life of this ministry that you found yourself volunteering with.
We sincerely appreciate your contribution.
Your families and loved ones supported you in your efforts. They worried for you when things piled up and perhaps grumbled at you for the extent of your commitment.
And
And
so
so we thank your families and loved ones too. You all make our community a better place.
For all the things great and small you have given this ministry, we take time today to recognize you.
With deepest thanks, we honor you. May it be so.
Thanks, Kathy. We also want to say thank you to Jocelyn for sharing and leading us in this topic today. There was so much, and you've sparked ideas for further engagements in our regions. We also want to thank all of you for coming today and spending time with us. It's great to connect and have you share your wisdom with the group. There's so much value in everyone here. For following up, we're going to send an email probably in about a week or so, so have some patience. It will have the recording. Jocelyn has agreed to share her slides. Kathy will share that lovely spiritual practice that she just did. And then we've taken some notes of other resources that you've asked for. So we will gather those and share those with you. If you have any things to share, send them to one of us. That's why we send it out in about a week or so, to give you time. If you have job description samples, anything like that that you want to share, please send them to your staff member. Look for at your regional council newsletters, and we will advertise our next roundtable, and feel free to invite others to join. Not everyone is connected to the newsletter, so if you know people, everyone is welcome. These gatherings come with your ideas of topics. So if you have any ideas of things you would like us to focus on in the next ones, let us know. And I'm going to put in the chat our contact information, and that will also be in the email. All of our staff here are here to support you. So reach out if you have any further questions. You guys are so quiet now. Now you can open your, so our official thing has finished. If you have any parting words, feel free to speak into the room, or we're wishing you a blessed day on the rest of your day.
Thanks.